Oh, well, I'm Dorothy Wilhelm. This is the Swimming Upstream Radio Show. And you can tell from the lovely painting, wait, it goes this way, the lovely painting in the background that we're on our way to Christmas on the Swimming Upstream Radio Show. And it's a good thing because it's too darn cold to be out in the water. Now, I have got to start our Christmas month of shows off. I have got a special treat and a special guest that I know you've just really been wanting to see and hear. And he tells me he's having his best year ever. May that be said of all of us. Hello, Larry Fowler, the Lincoln Guy.
Hi there. How are you today, Dorothy?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing, considering that we just kind of go along and do what we can over and over and over. But I understand that you've been having some really wonderful successes.
Yes, but I'm having a slight technical problem. I'm trying to find there we are. Okay, here I am. Okay, great. Thank you. I lost me for a minute. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about, everybody. I think it's everybody's favorite president, and everywhere I go lately, everybody wants to stop by and tell me how badly do we need to have Abraham Lincoln back. I'm in agreement with that. But I want to talk specifically. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. Do you feel like, see, we get to this is like an interview show, so you talk and then I talk because anyway, but you do feel like you're getting a lot more of that kind of question and conversation and all that.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it crosses the entire spectrum of of political, social, and cultural beliefs out there. Everybody is telling me the same thing. They wish that we had Abraham Lincoln back. So,
which of his qualities do you think they are missing most? I vote honesty.
Well, yes, I think one of them is humility. One of them is yes. One of them is that's a big thing that people want. They want to know that one of us is in the White House. One of us is leading us. His integrity, his steadfastness to the basic principles of liberty to all. Those are the things I think that people keep saying over and over again. And that's in spite of the fact that he presided over the most divisive period in American history.
Well, and I want to talk a little more about that later, but I understand that you have a Christmas story for us.
Well, yeah, I would. What I'd like to talk about is set the record straight a little bit on what it was like to be in the White House during the Lincoln era on Christmas Day. And it starts with, I want to say, first of all, it starts with the fact you have to understand that Christmas was not a holiday in the 1860s. It didn't become a holiday until the 1870s. And the other part of it is Lincoln came. Go ahead. Why?
Why? Yeah. Why was that?
For a variety of reasons. Mostly holidays back then were regional. Even Thanksgiving had been just a regional kind of a thing or a local kind of a celebration until Lincoln's famous Thanksgiving proclamation, which didn't come until 1864. Okay. But so that was part of it. The other thing that people don't understand is that there was a huge religious divide over Christmas. The Puritans were not big celebrators, and they thought that it was kind of sacrilegious to have fun on Christmas Day. And Lincoln came from kind of a Puritan background. His family were we call primitive Baptists, and in particular, that was a Puritan group of believers, and they didn't get excited about hardly anything. And so Lincoln grew up with that kind of a mentality. It wasn't until I think he met Mary Todd that he became to understand that, hey, people do have fun at different times of year.
That's marvelous. So So now we were going to talk about
the experience.
and I will try to not interrupt, but I probably will. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's fine. Yeah. So anyway, so that was kind of the reason. It wasn't part of the culture back then. So on the first Christmas was that he was in the White House was the Christmas of 1861. And that was the only Christmas, by the way, that we have a record of there being any kind of a formal celebration of Christmas in the Lincoln White House. That was the only time.
Really?
There was, and he spent, by the way, he spent the morning. He convened the cabinet at 10 o'clock that morning for the regular cabinet meeting. The cabinet meeting lasted until 2 o'clock, and the topic was, how do we avoid war with Great Britain?
Ah,
And that was a very important issue, because had we gone to war with Britain, then we would have been fighting on two fronts.
yes.
The war would have lasted 45 seconds or so, and the Confederacy and the Crown would have divided up what we now call the North, and so the world would be very different than what it is today. So that's how Lincoln started his morning on Christmas Day, the first Christmas Day in the White House. But that happens to be the only day that we know that he actually had a dinner, a Christmas celebration dinner in the White House, but it was a private event, just family and friends. So that was the first Christmas, and to bookend that, the 1864 Christmas, we don't have a record of there being a family event, but we do know that little Tad Lincoln, who was the only son left at home at the time, that he invited all of the newspaper boys in Washington, D.C. to come to the White House for a luncheon.
You did.
Yes, and so we have two celebrations, bookending his presidency. In between, we know in 1862 that he was focused on two huge events. One of them we celebrate as the Emancipation Proclamation. He was getting ready to sign that, but he was also facing a decision about 330 or so Sioux Indians who had been rounded up at the end of the Sioux Wars and had been sentenced to death by military tribunals. And those death sentences were on his table to make a final decision. And so, depending on who's telling the story, you either have the story of the largest hanging the day after Christmas of 1862, the largest execution in American history, some 30 plus hanged, or you have on the other side, you have people celebrating the fact that 300 were commuted.
Mm.
What Lincoln was doing on the Christmas of 1862. And then on the Christmas of but he took time off during that one. He and Mary took time off to go visit the army hospitals in the city and take gifts to the soldiers in the army hospitals.
What
And
kind of gifts would they take? What sort of?
Fruit baskets and things of that nature, goodies, delicacies. That was and flowers. That's what they took. It also happens that, by the way, that one of my favorite people of all in the Lincoln era, Rebecca Pomeroy, a Civil War Army nurse, was in one of those hospitals they visited, and we do have a record that they were making a big deal out of celebrating Christmas. And Rebecca's background on Christmas was very different than Lincoln's. I mean, she knew all about stuffing stockings and celebrating Christmas and a big thing. So, and of course, they needed something to lift the spirits of the boys in the hospital. So that was.
We should let people know that you've written a book about Rebecca in case they would like to.
Yes, I have written the only book about Rebecca Pomeroy that exists, and I think you would find that she's one of the most remarkable people in American history.
And only
I
you
also
write about her.
Yes, and I call it Lincoln's Angel, the Rebecca
Yeah.
Pomeroy story. Yes, And I'm coming out, by the way, one of the things I hope to introduce on one of my events coming up during the holiday season is a gift package of all of, not just all of my book on Rebecca Pomeroy, but also an edition that I created of a replica of a book that was published on her in 1884. And all of my research artifacts, either in print form or in digital form, will be in a box set that bears her image on the top of the box.
When does it come out?
Well, I'm waiting on the boxes to be delivered, but they should be here next week. So that's
Wow,
what then
what a
I'm tracking them.
what a Christmas gift that would make.
Yes, right. Yeah, especially for any person who loves or is a nurse.
That's
Yes,
a great idea. I'm proud of you, Larry. I understand this is one of your biggest years. So I mean, you've been doing this forever, since time was new, and it's getting better.
it's getting better and better and better. This has been a huge year. People are really embracing, especially the Rebecca Pomeroy story. What happens is that most of the time it's either that book or the first book that I wrote, Lincoln Raw, which is Lincoln's early life story. That people stand there in front of me, and they go back and forth trying to decide which of those two books they want to take home with them.
And you say, "Oh, take both."
Take both.
I think that's so terrific. And, to me, it's so remarkable that it shows, I think, not only great writing and research, but it also shows that this longing is growing. It's not going off to the side or anything.
Yes.
When did you know you had a really big thing going?
Well, I sensed it was coming when I had coffee with you years ago, and you crowned me the Lincoln Guy. But it has just snowballed, and then finally this fall, probably when I was back in Peoria, Illinois, at an event of 100 authors, and they were interviewing the authors for a podcast. And when my turn came up, the interviewer was all excited. She said, "The Lincoln Guy is with us at last." And so we talked, and an interview very similar to what I've had with you over time. And she was just so delighted that the Lincoln Guy had made his way from Seattle to Peoria, Illinois, to visit with them.
So you and Abe have been friends for a long time.
Yes.
You know his family probably as well as you know your own. How has your opinion of him changed over the years?
Well, as I have become more aware of the richness of his personality, his humility, his sensitivity to other people and their needs, his his love for this country, I have grown more in my respect for him as a man, and it's more obvious that was a unique personality. They don't make them like that anymore, and didn't make them before him either. He had the soul of a poet, was the son of a farmer who took on the greatest challenge in American history and beat it.
And what I remember from when I was a little girl, there was a book about Lincoln about his brother and how the two of them, his brother held him upside down and he made footprints across the ceiling. So
Yes.
Everybody would wonder, who had done that.
Yeah, and technically that was his stepbrother, but yes, but anyway, yes, that did happen, and that was also a big part, I think, of the attraction to Lincoln. In spite of having this battle with melancholy his whole life, he was a jokester. He loved humor. He told funny stories. Some of them were even bawdy stories. I mean, so yes.
Well, now what about, I now want you to settle an argument for me. A friend and I were talking the other day, and I said, "There's never been a time like this that I feel that the country has been in such disarray, maybe on the verge of catastrophe." And she said, "Well, of course, the Civil War was much worse." And I said, "No, it really was. No, it wasn't. It was, but I understand you're siding with my friend. Is that correct?"
Oh, absolutely. I'm siding with your friend on two accounts. Number one is we haven't had a million people, a million soldiers die on our soil fighting other Americans. We haven't had that, recently. The other thing is I up until the story that we haven't yet had a member of the House of Representatives walk into the Senate chambers and club a senator nearly to death with his cane. And
Oh,
it took 2 years for that senator to come back to his job. So we haven't had that kind of thing go on exactly.
so what do you think would he give us advice, and what advice would he give us?
I think the advice he would give us would go something like this. We're not enemies, we're brothers. He would say something like, with malice toward none and charity to all.
I know that number.
Yes. I mean, he would be advocating that we reconcile our differences.
Where would he tell us to start?
By recognizing that we have more in common than we have apart. He told in one of his speeches when he was running for president, he talked about how, how does a country divorce? You know, uh, you're going to be standing on one side of the Ohio or the other, looking at the other one, the rest of human history. So how is it that you can think you can simply divorce and be done with the other one? It's not going to happen, you know.
Would he be disappointed in the way things have come out in the country?
I don't think that Lincoln was the kind of guy who lingered on disappointment. He would say, "Okay, let's roll up our sleeves and figure this one out." You know, let's roll up our sleeves and figure it out.
Well, we all feel like we knew Abraham Lincoln. I don't think it's an unusual characterization. I think there's none of us that don't feel that we knew him somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So
He's a very complex person. Yes. Right.
yeah,
When you take those aspects of a poet, all right, think of Edgar Allan Poe in the White House, for instance, or Walt Whitman in the White House. If you take that kid whose feelings get hurt if he sees you crush a spider, and who's also Walt Whitman, who's also the military leader of what turned out to be the greatest military force in the world. I mean, uh, oh, the impossibility of Abraham Lincoln to me just kind of reappears every time I think about it. How does this work?
wow, yeah. And you really, I think, have written your books and projects and all are very different. Um, I guess I think more personal than
Yes.
most that have been done. So because you were coming right up on the end, Larry, and you have been, as always, marvelous. But where can people find you and your books?
Okay, you can find me very easy at dlfowler.com. I write under the pen name D.L. Fowler. Fowler is on the screen, and D is the first letter in Dorothy. So, and L is the first letter in Larry. So, it shouldn't be hard. And if you want to see me in person, I'm going to in your local here in the Seattle area. I'm going to be at some events coming up this weekend. This weekend is already passed, by the way. But this weekend, I am at the Victorian Christmas in Puyallup, Washington, at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds. The following week, I'm going to be up at I'm going to be up at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds in Monroe at an event, and then I'm going to follow up the weekend before Christmas. I'm going to be at the at Hangar 40 in Madison Park in Seattle.
You get around.
I do get around. Yes, that's my purpose.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's always, there's so much to think about. And I do feel like when we were not, you're much younger, of course, but I feel like when I was little, we spent a lot more time studying Lincoln. Now, whether it was right or not, there may have been misconceptions, but I think we got to know, I may be wrong, but I think we got to know him better than the kids do today.
I think you're right, but I also remind people that the amount of history since we were in school has more than doubled.
Well, that's
Since we
true.
were in school. Right, yes. So there's a
And
lot more to cover.
Say something now, since I interrupted you, fair is fair. Say something inspirational to close with.
Saying something inspirational. This too shall pass.
And right now, too. And Larry, it's always just a delight to spend some time with you. And I'm looking forward to seeing that new production. Do you call it a book or
No, it's a box set. It's a box set, right?
Yeah, and say the name.
Oh, the name of the box. Oh, the new book or the box set?
I don't care. Say either
Okay,
one.
the box set. It's the Lincoln's Angel box set. The
Lincoln's
Rebecca Pomeroy box set, right?
Okay.
Lincoln's Angel.
All right. Well, and Christmas is coming, so this would just be ideal. I have a daughter who is an RN. I know, I bet she would love that. That would be nice.
I will set one aside for you.
Well, thank you so much. Anyway, again, just a joy. And anytime you do anything wonderful, let us know. I suppose that'll come up quite often. And, this Christmas is coming, and this has been what we still call a production of the SOB radio production. And SOB stands for Spunky Old Broads. And so we're having a little fun on the air after all these years and meeting and getting to know wonderful people that you won't see on the 6 o'clock news, but you should. So this is Dorothy. This is Larry. Goodbye now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.